Three, two, one. I am live. This is week 5 or 6, I think. CNCdude here, Sarasota, Florida, just south of Tampa on the Gulf Coast. I'm originally from the New England area. Born and raised in north of Boston and lived quite a while in southern New Hampshire and moved to Florida in 2005. Yeah, my coffee here. Gotta have coffee on a coffee chat. Actually, I didn't drink coffee until probably like 1993 or 4. So, uh, um, CNC machining or machining in general, it's what I like to talk about. It's nice to have a occupation that you actually like doing, making things and getting paid for it. I did it probably from my late 20s up until now. So I've been teaching since 2013, the beginning of 2013. I'm wrapping up my 9th year teaching. Probably do one more, take it year by year after that. Probably slide into part-time teaching, but more making stuff anyway. Today, I was actually supposed to be at a race in Valdosta, Georgia, on my drag bike. I got to have a way of getting a side-by-side screen here so I could show people content that I'm talking about. But until I figure that one out. I have a drag racing motorcycle. I've been doing that since 1983. I went to New England Dragway. I used to do a little street racing with my Honda 750. It's kind of like a little bit of my journey, how I got into machining, about bringing my motor parts to a machine shop and kind of seeing the lay of the land there. So anyway, supposed to be there today. The motor's like 90% assembled, and it's a brand new engine for me package. I would rather do some local testing first. Probably a smart thing to do. So that's what I'm going to do. All right. Hopefully, I'm going to make it back up to New England Dragway on June 26th to have a little reunion with everybody I hung out with out there. I'm going to bring my RV and my trailer and everybody jam into the RV, including Sydney, the wonder dog over here. And we'll head north and I'll probably get in a couple of races up there, bring my street bike, do some riding around New Hampshire, Massachusetts, visit my brother, family, my cousins that live up that way, and friends, of course. And some of them machining friends. So, and then head on back. And when I'm heading back, I'm going to head to this National Machining Educators Conference. We actually call it a CNC Machining Educators Conference called HTech. It's the Haas Technical Education Centers. Our school is an HTech school. Doesn't cost anything to be an HTech school. We got a nice big banner on the wall, big placard on the wall. HTech is a phenomenal group of people that just enhance our teaching. There isn't anything like it, really. And I've run all different kinds of machines, like the Fanuc machines and Miltronics and Akumas and all that stuff. Like, nobody has the education focus that Haas Technical Education does. It's all funded by Haas, the funding part. We're nonprofit as far as, I won't say it's funded. It's not like they pay for everything. They give us discounts on equipment. But it's really about organization, about getting us all together. So when I meet with other people, we're talking nationally and internationally. I have many educators from Canada that come down. We've had some from Australia and Europe. So it's however far you want to go. I went to my first one after I wrapped up my first year teaching. The National HTech representative, Bob Skadinsky, actually lived down the street in Sarasota, and he helped get our program off the ground. And he strongly suggested, I should attend that conference. So I went with my program manager, my boss, Chuck Drake, We both went out there. School paid for it, because it's professional development, and I went out there to learn and also see where the heck I stood. As far as what do I need to do? What do I need to not do? And it was great. It was a great experience being amongst people that are like you, teaching, talking the same lingo, like talking G code or whatever. Uh, like my wife, she talks about her company, and I don't know what she's talking about, and I'll start talking G code with her and say, yeah, that's what it sounds like to me. So, but if with other people that know G code or fixturing and stuff like that, it's common language. You don't even have to explain it to anybody. That's a great experience to be amongst people that are the same tribe. And it's also very social. I've made many friends in there. I can count on them to ask questions or bounce ideas off of. It's really great. And we have dinners, we get together, we go on some tours. There's actually a spouse tour. So if you bring your wife or your significant other, uh, they go on trips and stuff. Like we went to California and they toured the Hearst Castle, Randolph Hearst Castle, things like that. And we have a big dinner before we wrap it up. I think we even had a G code dance at one of them. But the last one was in Montana. Of course, with COVID, everything's been like on hold. We held a virtual conference last year, but now we're back, and we're going to be in Tennessee at schools called TCAT, Tennessee College of Advanced Technology, I think, in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Now, if you're in that radius of 200 miles, you should be going because you could just drive over there. Um, but if you're in the like the southeast region where I'm at, um, you should be able to get maybe it's a little trip. You guess like, I think I'll go see Tennessee, and while I'm at it, I'll go to the conference. It's not all week. You can get there on Monday, but Tuesday is really the opening session. We go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, wrap it up Friday. Some people leave Thursday night, so you could just do 3 days, and that'd be like 89% of what you need. But a lot of us, we like to hang around with each other, so we get there bright and early on Monday, and we leave late as we can on Friday. You know, learn a lot of stuff. We have sessions called breakout sessions. We have presenters. We'll have a speaker come in. I think we have Cole Custer, NASCAR driver this year, is also speaking. Um, what else do we have? I think a couple of years ago we had a speaker that they built integration systems for the universal robots, so like cobot system to integrate them with your CNC machine. And we actually bought one and we were testing it out in school, how to integrate robotic automation and CNC automation. Very interesting. And it's really the future of manufacturing. It's going to be more automated. And think of like we make fun of I don't make fun of them. The CNC operator, I really dislike the term, but or we call a button pusher. You see a control right in the back of me. There's a green and red button. Press green, load a part, take a part out. Let the robot do that. You want to learn higher level stuff like how to set the machine up, how to solve problems, how get it let that machine run and you can go do something else. That's really where the future's at and where the money's at. So anyway, that's the kind of things we learned at H Tech, and just hanging out with each other. We come back with, I have goodie bags like hanging on the wall there of like things I bring back or notes I take. And also, they encourage the educators to lead. They call them educator-led sessions. They're like 45 to 50 minutes long, and you can go from room to room. Like I'm going to talk about our venture in the 5-axis machining, and I got a group of three of us from Florida. They're going to talk about programming CNCs, CAM versus hand programming. So subjects like that. We have some other topics up there. A fellow, Mike Fitzpatrick, he's right outside the Boeing Seattle area. He works a lot with Boeing. And he's going to talk about geometric dimensioning and tolerancing, how to teach it. I remember when I worked at various companies, they used to hire consultants to come in and teach the floor, all the machinists on the floor, how to get up to speed on GD&T, and because they were used to the the older blueprint tolerances and stuff, and they, how to, so they can grasp the newer technology. But I think as teachers, as we teach it, it's actually we don't have that hurdle of trying to reteach somebody because they might already know one way. Or it's like when I first did CNC machining in the '80s, where the manual machinist guys were like, "Nope, I'm fine where I'm at." But now it's become very dominant CNC machining and not as much manual machining, even though it's still needed. And I think it's manual machining is a good way to learn a lot of fundamentals and basics, and it's never going to go away. Even with you got 3D printing now, which is going to be hopefully at some point online in the metal area, and the CNC machines and the manual machines, they're not going to go away. They're just going to have be different functions in that world. So I try to encourage anybody that teaches in machining to attend the conference. My school pays for mine. I just pay for my wife's flight, and she stays with me, so the hotel room. And I think we also got we it's like about $150 to attend the conference, but my school pays for that because if I'm learning something, that's professional development. And I need to have so many professional development hours in order to renew my teaching certificate in Florida. And I'm assuming that's how it is in many other states, that you need to be continuously learning something. Like they'll have for things in school, like how to use PowerPoint better or stuff like that. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get credit for this, because it's very specific to what we do. And you can't learn that anywhere else. You can learn how like teacher stuff, but how can you learn more machining stuff? Um, anyway, and especially when you're trying to venture into newer areas, like if your local advisory committee, the people that are looking for a machinist, looking for specific things, like we had some requests in our area to do we teach Swiss CNC lathe, which is this is different than regular CNC lathe. And number one, you'd have to have the equipment. That's always a problem. And demand, So obviously it's demand. So we could go to our school and say maybe we need to get a Swiss lathe because all the manufacturers are asking for it. Um, and I think we did had a local dealer offer to put one in place as a demo machine, and so you could probably make ideas like that. But of course, I would have to learn it, right? So I've never even ran one, but I've learned as I teach my students that once you learn how to learn something, it's easier to learn new stuff. Like that's a Haas control behind me, and there's other controls that run machines like called Fanuc or Mitsubishi or Delta. And once you know, like you learn how to learn another one, then you realize it's not that difficult to learn the other ones because you know all the basics. It's slightly different, but not a lot different. Same thing with like programming systems. Is it the same code? Is it a couple of things different? Are you manually programming? Are you using CAD CAM systems to program? So these are all the kind of things we could even talk about at the conference. Like, what are you teaching? What projects are you teaching? Can you share some curriculum with me? Or I've shared curriculum that I kind of came up with. I used to think of like I'm not sharing anything with anybody. It took me a long time to figure this out, but now I'm more than welcome to share projects with other people. So anyway, I can't say enough about going to that Haas Technical Education Center's um, conferences. We also hold them regionally. We have a state of Florida one, and I think as we're coming out of the COVID thing, we're going to be back at it again. I think in the fall. So even if you cannot attend a national, it's usually a one-day event. Travel, come back. I last one I attended, I think, was in West Palm Beach on the East Coast, which is about 2 to 3 hours from where I am at. And I met a lot of other instructors. I know some that only attend the local conference, and I always say that you should go to the national conference. It's in the summertime. Take a break. We can always take a break for a lot of things, and it's going to really enhance you. I really feel like excited and better when I come back. I'm ready to go at it again because I've taken a break. I've expressed my anxieties and stuff and my successes with other people, and I might bring back some tips and tricks and come back and I'll write some notes about excuse me, um what I'm going to do this year. And it's like curriculum. I mean, we're trying to like teach something that's it may or may not be in a book. We're trying to come up with a method to teach everything. It'd be nice to say, here's a pile of books, teach everything in these books, and here's all the projects you're gonna make. It's not really laid out like that. It's sort of like teaching like automotive repair. You can kind of go like, let's get this car and let's learn about electrical systems, starters and alternators, and the belts that drive them. So you even in an automotive truck, you just kind of got to break it down to like sections. We start from easy and get progressively like more advanced as we go along, and eventually, hopefully, they become independent in their trade. And we're teaching at entry level, so we're trying to get people prepared for the industry. Now, we all know there's a very high demand for machinists in all areas. I mean, I think all of us, even as instructors, we decide to like hang our hat up. We could go like pretty much anywhere in the country and just show up and probably be working within 3 days. I have some students that have their own companies now. They have their own machine shops and they have better better equipment than I do, um, and they've done more advanced things that I've done. And I've had one that called me the other day. He said he ran into another graduate and who graduated before, who has his own company. He's working at a company as a lead programmer, and he's making very good money. And he's only been out. I think he's making more money than I am. He's only been out a couple of years out of the class. He was a very very good student, but um, you have the opportunity to learn this kind of stuff as if you want to get involved. But I'm kind of reaching out to the instructors. I was just in Southwest Illinois College area outside of St. Louis, Missouri. And it's funny when I observe other schools how they teach. Now, sometimes I go to schools and at the conference where we're kind of on vacation, so you don't see the school active. But I kind of watch how a college, 2-year college program does it versus how we do it. Because we're like an hour based technical ed program. And you would think it would be kind of like high school. You come in, you go to your geometry class, you learn geometry. You're done with that, and then the next hour you go to like U.S. history. I'm the only instructor, so I have to. If I when I started with one class in August, and I would take everybody like through progression. I try to do a little bit of board work, a little bit of textbook or online training, and then we do actual out in the lab. And eventually things kind of get out of sync because some people are advanced and some people take a little time. And eventually it's all out of whack. So, and then if we don't start off with a full class in the beginning of the year, they want to have a full room. So they'll have another entry point. So we might have like another group come in January, which are probably 5 months behind the first group. So it's like they're starting over again. But how do I teach the beginners the beginner part? And how do we teach the advanced people the advanced part? And so it becomes like a intermingled. It becomes a little bit more difficult. When I see in the colleges, you can really chunk it out and say, in this hour, this is all we're learning. And I think there's good and bad points about that because I saw that we kind of run well, my how I run my classroom is kind of like an active shop in which if you hired a new guy, you got to bring him up to speed, and the other people are more advanced. So we're all kind of learning at whatever level we're at. And I'm trying to like uh, communicate that as I go along. It I think it works pretty good compared to the chunks at a time method, where you could be just CNC lathe and just do CNC lathe projects, and you're done with that, and you go to multi-axis, or you go to blueprint reading or coordinate measuring machine stuff. but I think you can get really proficient at it. So I think I need to reincorporate a lot of that blocks of stuff and concentrate on that. And also it's people's attention span. I need to if I have an intermingled group of I'm talking to like half the class and the other half I'm not really talking to, I need to have like maybe those people out beyond the shop and just talk to group A and group B. So even in my ninth year, I'm really trying to learn how to manage this better. So and become like a big weight on you. So anyway, I'm at my 20-minute mark. So I'm just kind of like my primary thing I wrote down here was H-Tech reach out. We would like to have more people attend the conference. It's a great time. You can learn about a lot of things like the Gene Haas Foundation. Kathy from the Gene Haas Foundation is there to answer all your questions. We have all kinds of people there. We have people there from Sandvik, the cutting tool company, all different products and stuff. I believe we have the Haas factory outlets in the area. They're called HFOs. That's the dealer that sells machines. Their application engineers have volunteered to come in and do some lessons, even for us. Like any topic you can think of, and it could be something like, I really need to know more about that. I'm kind of, how am I learning it? Am I going to ask like somebody in the industry might be able to teach me, or how can I learn it on the fly? But if I take a time out and I can bring some notes back, and I'm like, I get it now. So we can learn from each other. But these are applications engineers that are teaching people in the field all the time. So this is just more learning and fun learning. So anyway, I'm going to sign off. But if you're teaching machine shop, especially if a Haas machine, don't have to have a Haas machine, but you should be attending that conference. It's a great time. There's even if you need to explain it to your administrator, we have a letter online that you can give and say, this is why I need to go to this conference to learn stuff and to explain how I need professional development, and then take it from there. And then it's like just going on a little vacay. You just go take a break, be amongst us, go home and say, I'm never going to that again. No, you'll never say that. You'll say like, wow, I need to make a point of doing that at least every other year, maybe. So, or the ones that are on the east side of the United States. 'Cause last time we were in Montana, and actually, you know what? That was a great time. It was great to see Montana. It was just we went to Yellowstone Park for 2 days afterwards. We make sure we extended it, and we just drove through Yellowstone Park, and a car we drove right by a buffalo going walking down the street. So our Old Faithful. It's a great. I can't say much more about it. So come to H Tech. Hope I see you all there. CNCdude signing off, and I'll talk to you soon.